Hi students, this is your instructor Megan, and in this video I just want to review the group design documentation. I received an email from a student this morning with some questions about it, so I thought I'd answer them in a way that everyone can get the answer in case they had the same questions. So the first question was, does this include everything for the whole class? And the answer is no, it's just your group project. So when I say that your group is to provide a Google Doc of all work completed for the group project, I mean just from when you first started working on the group project. And the parts underneath it tell you exactly what I want in that Google Doc. So when I say your group is to provide a Google Doc of all the work completed in the group project, I'm showing you below. So that Google Doc includes everything listed underneath it. So the first thing that I want is for you guys to discuss your process. So show an overview of the process that you went through from start to finish. So sort of tell me the story of what you did and why you did it. And you need to have these sections: a research section, a modeling section, a requirements definition section, a design framework section, and a design refinement section. So for each of those sections, you're going to explain how you approached it, like what is your understanding of research and why it's done. What did you make in the research phase? So what kind of research did you do and what were the outputs of it? So you guys all went out and did research and then collected it, so that should be included in that research section. And as you go, describe if or how you tested. So if you tested during the design framework phase, explain what kind of test you did and how you did it and what the results were. If you need an overview of the goal-directed design process, there is one on page 24 of the very first reading that you had in week 1. It's the same overview chart of the process that I've used in the introduction for all of the videos, and it's available to you in the week 1 folder. So here where I say don't just dump everything you have into one document, I don't want you just to take everything you've already turned in and put it in a Google Doc. I want you to actually craft a narrative of how you use the process. So pretend like you're writing to someone who doesn't know anything about this class and wants to know what you made and why you made it. So you're going to start sort of from the very beginning. So I've put together an example here. So you're going to label your document. This is the process section. And then give me a little overview. So this document describes the process for making whatever you made. And then you're going to break it up into sections. Now, these sections are really short because I haven't actually filled them in. I would expect to see much more in each section, but I just wanted to show you kind of what each section should be structured like. So for the research portion, start telling me, you know, why do you do research? So according to Cooper and Raymond, the goal-directed design process begins with research because blah, blah, blah. The first step in our research was to determine an audience to design for. How did you make that decision? And then tell me, you know, we chose this audience because whatever. The second step was this or that. So walk me through what you did. And again, write it as if the person reading it doesn't know anything about the process or anything about the class. And then show me what the results of your research were. Show me any findings that you made. So you took notes, put your notes in here. If you took pictures, put your pictures in here. And then kind of tell me what I'm looking at. And then move on to the modeling phase. So users were modeled from your research. How do you go from research to models? Tell me your thought process there. Were there some bits of research you kind of threw out because you thought they were maybe outliers and didn't represent your typical user? What did the models focus on? How did you make them? What kind of models did you make? There's all kinds of different ways to model users, as you know from reading about Phase 3.0. And then show me the models that you made and explain them to me. So this is our persona, so-and-so, you know, we synthesize the persona by blah, blah, blah. And then move into the next sections. So for requirements definition, explain to me what that is, why you did it, and how you did it. So based on models, how did you go from models to defining requirements? And then show me your requirements that you made and explain each one. And then you're going to go through design framework and design refinement as well. And again, if you need an overview of this process, page 24 of the week 1 reading, Understanding Goal-Directed Design. For the annotations portion, I'm asking for 4 different annotations. One set that features the features and shows which feature fulfills different user requirements. So if one of your user requirements is that people can connect with other people instantly, show me where that happens in your design. One set indicating the use of interface patterns, so label all the patterns that you used, and then one set showing the visual interface design principles, so label wherever the principles are used. If you have negative space, explain where the negative space is and what it's doing. One set indicating the use of metaphors, idioms, and affordances. So if you're using an idiom like a scroll bar, label it and explain to me this scroll bar is an idiom because it's not metaphoric in nature. It doesn't match anything in the real world, but people have learned to use these over time, whatever it is. So I've just put together one short example of an annotation for design patterns, and I made this in InDesign. You're welcome to use whatever you want. It really doesn't matter to me how you make it, as long as I can understand what you've made. So you can see for this page of a website that another student turned in long ago, you can see I've labeled the patterns. So on this page, there's really only two things going on, the navigation and the photo gallery. And so I've labeled those because each uses a design pattern, and I've named the patterns. So the first is a navigation bar, and then I've explained what it is. All elements of the bar help the user navigate from page to page. Okay, yes, that's a navigation bar. And then I've highlighted the design pattern thumbnail gallery, and I've explained again what that pattern is. It's a photo gallery that shows thumbnails that users can click on to see photos larger. Now, you have been provided earlier in this class with resources for finding design patterns. I've provided links to several design libraries, so if you don't know the names of the patterns you've used, go look them up. And then you would do this for every page, look at the design patterns for every page. I would expect to see everything you've made as some kind of pattern. And then do it again for the 3 other areas. And you can split that however you want. You can amongst your group, and you can create them in whatever software you want. If you want to use InDesign, you could do this in PowerPoint and then save the PowerPoint slides as pictures and embed the pictures here. It doesn't really matter to me how you do it, again, as long as I can read it. So that's sort of my quick overview of what I'm talking about in this document. You don't need to cover anything that you did individually before the group. This document covers sort of from the moment you and your group got together to now. And in Design Framework and Design Refinement, you're going to discuss the testing that you did and what it led you to think, and what it led you to change. So under Design Refinement, I would expect to see, some of you have asked me in your group meetings, how are you going to let me know what changes you want to make? Here's where you're going to do it. So Design Refinement, you can make recommendations for changes you think need to be made to your design, and they can be small changes or they can be huge changes, like the app didn't work at all, it needs to be redone as a blank, as a desktop piece of software, something like that. Let me know if you have any additional questions. I hope this cleared up some of your questions, and I can't wait to see your presentations and to see this final document Friday.